The Oruga Podcast.
Somehow somebody's always looking the other way. Now look at these guys. They look busy, right?
Yeah, some of this content is just unwatchable.
This is a very unwatchable. But he's getting hella views on this shit. Like, trying to replicate the smell of a skunk using a mother load?
Of stink bombs.
Why? Wait, he's breaking it down in the beginning of the video like he's a fucking scientist. That's so funny.
Giant deep fried butter on a stick. Oh, that's his revisit. Yeah, channels like his.
That makes me sick. I gotta go to the hospital. That's really funny. Yeah,
I love his banner.
That is amazing. Who is this dude? What's this? LA Beast?
Yeah,
that's funny.
Welcome to the Op. Be sure to check out Oruga's shop. We make shirts and hoodies that are comfortable and stylish. Follow @ShopOruga and visit orugastore.com. That is ORUGA store.com. Beat produced by Saipuda. Check him out at saipudabeats.com.
I'm the hunter, I'm the boss. My set taken off. Polo used to be Lacoste. That's where I stop. Oh gosh. Okay, welcome back to the Op. Today it's me, Preston, and I'm chilling with Nolan right now.
Hello.
We're not at our typical location where we record, so it might sound a little different, but we make do. You had an opening clip, right?
Happy 4th of July for those listening around this time. Gotta appreciate the American spirit.
That's so true. It is July 3rd right now, but I will tell you, Nolan, that this episode is episode 9. So, episode 9 won't come out until August, fucking somewhere in August, I don't know, like the first week.
That's actually very true.
That's how far we're, getting the recording. Which, not to brag, listeners, but we kind of have our shit together right now.
Filming 2 months in advance.
Literally. What was your opening clip?
So there's this YouTuber who I highly advise subscribing to because of his humor, if you were to call it that. But he's very dry when he's doing food reviews, and his name is TheReportOfTheWeek, and he does come out with a food review every week, and it's just a new food item at a restaurant. And he dresses up real nice in like a 1920s suit.
Really?
Yeah. And he combs his hair over to the side. He gets everything prepared. He gets all fancy. Mm-hmm. And he reviews just most of them are fast food items. And
I've seen this dude.
Yeah, they're hilarious. He gets less than 200K views for some of them, but I've tried out some of the food that he's recommended, and the Papa John's Papadilla was a great one. And I mean, he's covered it all, from Taco Bell's nacho fries to KFC. I mean, he does Burger King. He gets disappointed sometimes in the quality of the food that he's reviewing, and that's what is also great about his content. It's because he's not afraid to tell the truth.
Okay.
But
he's got hella subscribers too.
In a sophisticated manner, he tells how it is.
Okay.
It's really funny though, his dry humor. He's even got a podcast, which is interesting.
Let me see it. Let me get a view of that shit, man. I do like his suits. He's
My
really well.
average day.
My average day. Man, he's got a lot of fucking...
Pizza reviews, burger reviews. Yeah, I don't know where you would find it. I remember seeing it advertised, but yeah, he does have a talk show. Right?
And a show on Patreon. Who doesn't have a show on Patreon now? Shit, Nolan, we're gonna have to get
Just
on Patreon.
look at that banner, man. He's so he's very professional.
It is true. He is pretty professional. He's very serious looking. I want to give you the thought of how intense he looks 24/7. He looks so tense. Intense.
I like his thumbnails though. He's smiling in most of them. You know? Very, very wholesome content creator.
Yeah.
But yeah, highly advise going to the report of the week if you're interested in food content.
Report of the week. Seems cool. So you've actually tried some of the food that he's reviewed?
Yeah, because it's all fast food and very
That's all he
easily
does
accessible.
Okay.
So yeah.
Easily accessible.
I mean, if he's recommending something, it's definitely worth a try. Cause
what do you think happens when he doesn't have the restaurant in town? You know, because
like
he
if
has
you're
to...
living on the east side and they're like, go to In-N-Out. Go get their new burger. And he's like, I live in like Philadelphia, dude, or something like that.
Right, and he's gonna have to go back to his studio with his food, or it looked like that was his bedroom. But
I mean,
like,
sometimes he reviews the food from his car directly after getting it from the drive-thru.
And in the car, does he have a mic with him?
Yeah, he's got the whole setup.
He's got his computer with him too.
I can't see all that because like it's just pointed at the driver's seat.
Sure.
But yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty crazy.
And he doesn't drive a 1920s car? This is kind of off aesthetic, isn't it?
I don't know what he drives, but it's definitely not those type of models.
Okay. Well, I think that should be his next investment, is doing
And then
that.
after getting the Papa John's Papadilla, I had to look at some Papa John's memes.
Okay.
And
That feels like the Papa John's interview that ended him, right?
that is the Papa John's interview that ended him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I remember his like ending quote is something like, the interviewer asked him, he's like, how are you going to address this racism that you said, that like, because he said the N-word?
Sure.
And it got overheard, I guess through a phone call or a video.
Okay.
And his ending quote in that interview is like, we'll address it at a further, like at a later date.
Okay.
Instead of just like saying how he felt in the interview. And that's what ruined him.
I don't know if he could have saved himself, but he probably could have, right? Just a little.
Yeah.
It would have softened the blow, let's put it that way. Because, I mean, like, obviously nobody should be saying that word. And clearly everybody's getting repercussion for saying that word on broadcasting. And I totally understand. Mm-hmm. But he looks guilty in that thumbnail.
That's because he's always got a red face, you know?
I guess. Heavy drinking will do that to you. I have one clip that's it's slightly a wholesome clip, but it's Jack Harlow.
Explain why. It always felt like a sure thing, no matter how far away it was. It just felt like a sure thing. You know, people want to talk about God and Jesus. That's fine. Manifestation, that's when I'm really sold. That shit's real. Explain why.
Greatest quote.
Greatest quote by Jack Harlow. And that's apparently about him dating Dua Lipa or whatever.
Dua Lipa?
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know about that relationship at all. But
Man,
that's my clip of the day.
Have you seen this trend that's going on with talking about food reviews? Trying the Grimace shake and then like the
McDonald's?
Yeah.
Grimace shake?
The birthday shake, yeah.
Yeah.
So people record themselves taking like a sip and then like it's very short. Like it's cut off after they take a sip.
Okay.
And then it cuts to them and like I guess they try and fantasize like a very horrific scene for themselves to be in. And they're like, alright, I'm gonna try the Grimace shake, and then they just end up like chained to a wall or something and they're getting like purple juice thrown on him like every 2 seconds. I've seen a couple of videos that are like that, but
really?
A lot of them
That's
are just
hilarious.
very graphic, you know.
Okay.
I think it's even resulted in
what?
I don't know, I guess controversy. There may have been a death involved in
what? There may have been a death involved in what?
because when I was Googling this, I typed in Grimace shake, and then the third thing down, it says death.
Yeah, let me see that.
Death by Grimace shake. I actually don't know.
That looks...
It's all clickbait.
Yeah.
Everything's clickbait when it comes to the Grimace shake. This is what happens when McDonald's releases a new flavor.
Click that ABC link. I'm curious what that one is. It says TikToker uses viral whatever. Just talking about the Grimace shake.
TikTok users are pretending that the Grimace shake has killed them because it's a trend, you know. You gotta follow that trend.
That's funny. I like that. I'm a big fan of... He looks so creepy. I don't know how McDonald's is like... I don't know how they signed off on like, yeah, of course, let's not change the costume at all. Let's keep it as scary as possible.
I mean, even
and
their mascot, Ronald McDonald, would you really want Ronald McDonald to be funding your, like, children's hospital?
No.
And then you got a weird, creepy clown coming in.
With the worst makeup. He's got the worst makeup and shoes that you could have as a clown. And it's...
Is Ronald McDonald even a clown, man? He hasn't been used in marketing in forever.
Well, he was around when we were a kid. Like, in, like, the early 2000s, he was very around. The statues were always there.
He's going to get his comeback. His comeback season will return.
When gingers take over the world, he will be the rising mascot.
But you're not wrong. The mascot, or the makeup for him, is not very inspiring.
It's
you're just
pure white face.
It's not even a nose either. It's just a painted nose, like not a clown nose.
It looks like a skull, if you were trying to make one.
And then red lips outlined. There's nothing besides that that's makeup.
I haven't seen this clown in a long time. He looks just as terrifying as I remember.
Remember the commercials?
No, I don't actually. Look one up. I haven't seen one in so long.
Ronald McDonald commercial.
Yeah. And look up, like, I don't know, maybe 90s. Just for fun, so I haven't seen one.
Compilation.
No, do the 1 minute one.
Yeah, you're right.
It's an ad. We should pay for YouTube Plus, but screw it.
Who's our favorite hamburger clown? Who can always make us smile? Who does everything with style? Ronald McDonald. Wherever Ronald is found, he's like to be around.
What?
Who are we cheering for? Who really knows?
This has nothing to do with food. He's just playing basketball with children. What?
What?
He just dunked the ball by raising his ankles. He's the tallest looking clown, though. Why does he look so tall?
These people after 20 years go to jail for some creepy thing. I'm getting mass, like...
And he landed right in the bench, right next to McDonald's.
Alright, that's enough. That, like, scarred me for another decade. That was so creepy. How did they get away with that shit? I mean, how could you, as, like, a commercial team, be like, this is the best product we can make. Let's just make a jingle. Let's have the kids playing in a playground. It's perfect.
Also, I think where McDonald's went wrong is having multiple mascots. Why have a whole cast of characters? You're just... Like, why have a McDonald's crew? Why have... They have Grimace, they have the burglar. Is it the Hamburglar?
You gotta look this shit up. Let me see the whole crew. What does the whole crew look like? Oh my gosh,
There's the captain.
Go to images.
category characters. Holy shit, they have like 10. Why? Like they should have just made a show.
I remember Birdie the Early Bird. I remember that chick.
Fry Kids, Captain Crook, Mayor McCheese.
Let me see Hamburglar.
Hamburglar.
I barely remember. I don't even know if I remember that.
What I do remember though is McDonald's toy meals, and like getting some Bionicle or whatever Bionics. Remember those weird robot things?
Not at all. What are you talking about?
I don't know. It was like when I was probably 9.
Okay.
But they're just like Legos, and they connect like on the limbs.
Okay.
But McDonald's toy meals used to be so goated.
They were amazing. I will admit that.
Looking for comfortable? Looking for comfortable and stylish apparel? Something right up your alley? Oruga has a collection for you. Monochrome features sleek black and white designs. The Workweek in Thermal features pops of vibrant color. Check out orugastore.com for unique styles and streetwear.
You know, as I get older, though, McDonald's is just rotting my insides.
Long term.
Oh gosh, there was like a news thing I saw on YouTube, and it was they were remodeling this house, and some fries fell into the wall, and they figured out by the container that was holding the fries, they figured out it was made in the 60s.
What?
So it was more than 80 years old, the fries, and there wasn't any mold on them. They didn't look any different from that. Like, they didn't look a day old. And what are those doing to your insides? For God's sakes, if that can just stay there, like,
Tucked in a wall. Just not rotting.
didn't decompose at all. What's the average age of food? It's like 7 days for leftovers and cheeses.
2 weeks at max if it's fresh food.
Mm-hmm. And that lasted 80 years. 80 years.
So
gross. What did they do in the 60s to make the fries do that?
There was a YouTuber who ate Cheetos from the 80s. And then he called customer support and told them that he ate the Cheetos that were expired. And I guess he got some vouchers, and they gave him some free Cheeto vouchers. I don't know why. But if you call the company, Frito-Lay or Cheetos, and say that you ate an expired bag of chips, you may be reimbursed. Who knows? Go try it out.
If you can find the oldest bag possible, that'd be best. And then send in your reaction video of you throwing up at ownersoforuga@gmail.com, because we would love to view you just throwing up old and expired chips.
They have to be Cheetos, though.
Oh, gosh, that's hilarious. Why... Was he doing it for the views? Like, what was his...
He does food reviews of expired food. So, like, he did a Pepsi Max, taste test.
Okay.
And just, Pepsi's from the 80s, snacks from the 90s, or just shit like that.
That's his lane, is expired food? Do you know what...
it's also an interesting one is... MREs, like the military food. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen those food channels?
No. Let me see could you pull up the YouTube for the expired food? I'm very fascinated, actually, that someone could dedicate their life to this. Because where are they buying this stuff? Like, are people stockholding expired food or memorabilia? Because I know there's a lot of people who have warehouses of memorabilia just for the namesake. I mean, like I've known a few people who have held on to old Coke bottles just for the shits and giggles, and if they wanted to try their expired Coke, I mean, I couldn't imagine that's good. So
another YouTuber with just under 3 million subscribers, LA Beast. Yeah, I forgot his name for a second, but it's LA Beast, and he got a letter from PepsiCo because PepsiCo owns Frito-Lay and Frito-Lay owns Cheetos. And the letter was basically a thank you for contacting and then a coupon, which really confused me because like if all you have to do is consume an old Cheetos product, call customer support and be like, I ate old product. And then they just send you like vouchers. I don't understand it. Unless they're just fans of his work.
Right.
And they're like, oh, he's eating our expired stuff as an experiment so that we know what it's like in terms of the future.
With that, Nolan, do you think you really have to eat the expired food to be able to call customer service and say?
I mean, unless you have the bag, I don't know if they like need the fucking code.
Right.
Like, LA Beast does a lot of food. I don't even know if you would call them reviews. I think they're mostly challenges.
54-year-old chili can.
Yeah, some of his content is just unwatchable.
This is a very unwatchable. But he's getting hella views on this shit. Like, trying to replicate the smell of a skunk using a mother load?
Of stink bombs.
Why? Wait, he's breaking it down in the beginning of the video like he's a fucking scientist. That's so funny.
Giant deep fried butter on a stick. Oh, that's his revisit. Yeah, channels like his.
That makes me sick.
I gotta
go to the hospital. That's really funny.
I gotta. I love his banner.
That is amazing. Who is this dude? What's this? LA Beast?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I gotta go to the hospital.
I'm proud of him for that one. That's very funny.
Oh, goodness. And then the report of the week tried the Grimace shake, but he didn't go with the trend. He just tried it like a normal individual. He didn't have an aftermath.
That's good. He doesn't look like a person who would stick with the trends.
No.
You know, he doesn't seem like a person who's like...
He's stuck in the 1920s, being classy.
I don't even know how he's not doing this on film with a little rudder camera with his kind of outfit. I think we need to DM him and tell him that his commitment's not deep enough. He needs a fucking 1920s car. He needs a camera from the 1920s. He needs to have one of those mics who makes him sound like an absolute asshole like in the 1920s.
Maybe we need to start a food review channel and just eat the craziest shit on it. That sends us to the hospital.
I think the first thing we should do then is do what Kahaya was talking about and dry out Pepto-Bismol and just eat it dry.
Oh God! Are you talking about like when it's all not a liquid?
Not a liquid, right?
How does it dry out?
I have no idea. I guess it.
I do remember that conversation where he was like telling us how it almost turned into like a tum. And yeah, that grosses me out. Super fucking gross, but hey, we'll try it. Maybe we'll get views for trying it.
You can try it. I'll be cameraman.
The hype man.
I don't need to do it.
You can do it.
You do it, man. Do it for science.
This is off topic, but getting a gun from World War II, like the M1 Grand, that would be such a crazy relic to have in your house.
A relic.
Or even like the 1911s are crazy. The M1911s, I do like those. the chrome plated, and when people make them like customized, those are pretty sick too.
Would you want a new version of it? Like, would you want a remodel or like a remake, or would you want?
Yeah, probably a remake. I do like more modern shit.
Well, it's also the usability too. I mean, like, are you going to use this to defend your life on an intruder, or are you going to like, just like, this is a relic that stays on the wall?
I would have to have two. One for displaying purposes, and then one for usability.
Right. One for the range.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
I feel like that's the way people should split it up. Just have one for show. It's like never in use.
Sure.
That's always in your house, just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
And then have one that you always take to the range or something.
I do know somebody who always goes for the pretty gun. They're like, I don't give a shit if it fires.
They don't care if it
is
efficient.
They don't care if it fires.
They don't care what use case it is.
No.
They don't. As long as it looks nice.
Right. Is it a pretty gun? Does it have the ivory handles? Is it chrome plated? Does it have engravings? Like, all that shit, he does not give two shits if it fires well. It's really hilarious. And I get both lanes. Like, I get the usability argument, but then I also get, like, this is also a piece of art. It's human engineering right there.
Having a good case is also a flex.
A good case.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Elaborate.
Some
Why?
Carbon fiber shit.
Okay.
Like that. You know, like those studded things.
Sure. If you're hearing that audio, that's my boxer who's really into the conversation. Hey, yo. I know you're enjoying life, but like... oh, I love...
There's that one. Ears flopping.
Oh gosh! You're saying pretty cases? You want a pretty case, or you want like a cool like carbon fiber with like
fiber, like gold trimmed, some shit like that.
Okay. Have you ever seen an example of something like this, like on a movie, or like have you seen like a Bond movie or a Mission Impossible movie? That's a good example.
Those SMGs that like fold out like a briefcase or fold into a briefcase, those are pretty dope.
Okay, like the M5s, MP5. Jesus, I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers and letters out.
Call of Duty just really made the gun experience really like pleasing and aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
MP5s are really nice and shit.
Mm-hmm. They're great. I don't know. I mean, like I've fired a few, and they're very predictable. I don't know. Like I've always liked them. Obviously there's the issue that it's a 9mm, so it's a submachine gun, and obviously it's going to be single fire, and with those they can't shoot as far, so it's like 50 yards. After 50 yards it gets a little hairy, but yeah, they're very fun to go to the range with. I want to go clay pigeon shooting soon.
Really?
Yeah.
With what, like shotguns?
Yeah.
What do you use, 12 gauge or 20?
I've shot with both, I guess. I've shot with the 20 before, and I've shot with the 12. And that's very fun, because that's like all about timing and making sure that your like breath is under control, and that like it's all about timing, really.
Yeah.
It's very impressive. I don't know, like into like...
The last time I did that, I was like 12 or 13 or something at Camp Webb.
Okay.
And that shit was difficult. But I remember it being really fun, because I did hit it out of like so many attempts. Mm-hmm. And I just remember how satisfying it is.
Right, because it's like, it's almost instantaneous, the result.
Yeah,
because
and you're able to see the result. Like, so quickly.
And
you're like, yep, I got it.
There's no delay. Like, at least as the human experience. I mean, obviously, the the bullets are traveling through the air, but like it's so instantaneous. It's really fun.
What kind
Cases.
of
What? Go ahead.
what kind of mods go on a shotgun though? Besides, because you can't really change the magazine too much, right?
In some states, you really can't have more than maybe 5 shots for hunting.
You could like, there's not much modifications in terms like you could, I guess, saw off the barrel.
That's illegal.
Yeah, I get it.
That's
Yeah,
illegal.
You're right.
I forget what the agency that regulates that in America, but they do not allow short
ABTFA or whatever.
ATF.
Or yeah,
I think it's ATF.
I think it is ATF. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, ATF is the agency that regulates firearms, but they don't allow a certain length of shotgun to be made. So they have a minimum of inches. It might be 12, it might be 16 inches barrel, but somewhere around there. I don't really know. But what modifications you can do? I mean, I guess you could like have like grips. Do you want to have a nice gun, or do you want a usable gun? I mean, those questions, you'll sit down with that question for a long time, because you could change out the barrel and make like a chrome barrel. You could have like a matte black barrel. You could have the army green barrels, and that's just painting. You could also talk about metals and what kind of metals. I mean, you could have cheap aluminum. I don't really know. I don't know enough. I wish I was a gunsmith and I could just list off all the metals that are used for barrels. But I mean, I would assume like material you can change out, handles. But besides that, also muzzles. You can change the muzzle.
Really?
For sure, because there are different muzzles
So
do
like a
different things.
compensator or not a suppressor. Suppressors are also illegal, aren't they?
No, you can file for a suppressor. Suppressors are legal. You just have to go through the process. It's like it's a little more strenuous than having a carry, than having a concealed carry.
Mm-hmm.
A concealed carry, you have to take a test, and you have to go through the paperwork, take the test, get passed, then you can have a concealed carry. But for a suppressor, I think you purchase a suppressor first, and then you send your paperwork to either ATF or some government agency to approve you, and that takes about like 9 months or maybe a year, and then you can have the suppressor. But while the suppressor is sitting on the shelf waiting for your paperwork approval, it's just sitting at the gun store.
Walmart stopped selling guns, right?
I think so. Yeah.
They had to do that as part of a mandate.
Keep talking, will you? We'll cut that out.
Yeah, that Papa John's thing is 3 years old.
What?
That interview when he got caught.
No way. It's got to be older.
Because look at this.
What are you talking about?
Look at this animation by Meat Canyon.
Dude, that didn't happen in 2020.
3 years ago. So it was either 3 or 4. Because he made an animation 3 years ago.
No, and there's no way that happened during 2020. There's no way.
It did feel like it was a lot longer ago.
I might have been in grade school when that shit happened. Which is like 8 years from now? Maybe a little more.
Yeah, that did feel so long ago because it felt like he stepped down in 2018 or something like that.
And yeah. Fuck Papa John's. I just want to say that in general. I fucking hate Papa John's pizza.
To go on to a different topic, would you ever try? Isn't there some sort of like drone license? I know we talk about drones a lot. Would you ever get a drone like camera license? Or isn't there a course?
There's probably a lot of utility to that. You could probably be a freelancer.
Because I could see being, like, doing the drone footage thing that we do.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine being, like, a licensed person doing that shit, and that'd be fun.
Well, as you're listening to this, you'll literally be seeing drone footage. So, yeah, I do know what you're talking about. And there's probably a lot of utility to it, because you could be selling your ability to take photos of land. Mm-hmm. So, like, real estate people need that all the time. If they're going to sell a piece of land, they're going to want
some high quality footage, especially if, like, you're selling on a hill or something.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that.
And you got, like, a stilt house, you need to do the full 360, the windowscape or something.
And then just being able to, like, I mean, we take drone footage from YouTube. I'm sure there's a bunch of people who upload their drone footage just to a public domain like YouTube. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah. So I bet there's a lot of utility to having a drone and a drone license. But that's where I get, like, the only drones I see are those, like, small ones, right? They're like maybe they're a foot by a foot in size, and they're really not that big. Their propellers are not that big, but
I don't know how they can have such good cameras.
Right.
Like, their cameras are such good quality, it's like 60 frames, 4K. Mm-hmm. And the drone is, like, selling for under 200 most of the time. Right.
And you can control some of them with your phone.
Yeah.
And you're like...
Soon they'll be everywhere. We're just talking about them when they're in early development stages.
Very infantile. Yeah. Soon, those things will be the cops.
Like, when I was growing up, RC, like, cars and RC planes were the biggest thing. And those things go at max, like, 10 or 20 miles per hour. And now you got drones that can go the same pace of a car.
Yeah, cool. A cool gift as a kid was to get one of those helicopters, those RC helicopters.
Yeah.
Have you ever got one of those? Mm-hmm. And for 2 weeks it'd be cool, and then it'll break.
Yeah. Well, that's because I think I got mine tangled in a tree.
Okay.
And then it got stuck there. And then you have to hit it out with a long stick. So when you hit it with the stick, it falls out of the tree. And
sure.
You don't know if it was broken up in the tree or if it broke when it fell.
How traumatic.
So
how did you bounce back?
Didn't buy another one. So I learned it's not buyer's remorse, but I guess I learned general remorse.
Okay.
To buying an RC helicopter, because it was a very short-lived experience.
What a rabbit hole, though, for owning a drone. I bet that's just an adult toy at this point. Mm-hmm. It's like, do you have a motorcycle? Do you have a boat? Or do you have a drone? And it's like, I feel like...
It's just dwindling down to those three, or like an RV or an ATV.
Do you have an RV? Do you pull your RV? Do you go on every weekend like an asshole and block up the highways?
What are those things called? And they're kind of like an ATV, and they have the roof, and they're like a golf cart.
I call those RTVs.
RTVs?
Yeah, but that's the name that Kubota has for their... What you just described is basically a utility golf cart.
Dude, those are getting more and more popular. Mm-hmm. We're just going to see them at, like, every ranch, every property.
They are cool, though. But... I mean, you were talking about how those small vehicles who kind of look like a gator vehicle.
Yeah.
Move planes.
Oh, the tugs.
The tugs, yeah. I mean, those things are... How big do you think those are?
They're only
as big as a table?
Max 10 feet or 20. Or no, that's too big of a range. It's like 10 to 14 feet.
Okay.
But yeah, big... It doesn't seem big enough.
That's a huge vehicle you just described. 14 feet's a dually.
No, it's not that big.
Okay.
It's probably only 10 to 12. Looking for an out-of-this-world poster or some stickers to brighten your mood? check out the posters and prints collection on our website, orugastore.com. Our artworks are perfect for walls, mood boards, and anywhere you want to accessorize. The thing that's really scary, though, is the... no, there really isn't anything.
What? Just spit
I would
it
just
out.
say the conveyor belt, but only because, like, things can get trapped in there. You don't want your fingers rolling under it.
On the air... At, like... at an airport?
I guess just any type of belt, because there are a lot of conveyor belts in use at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
You got escalators, and then you got those walkways that are moving.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the moving conveyor belts, and then the belts that help move the luggage.
What I find funny is I bet that's a whole separate job. Separate from being a elevator mechanic. Or an elevator
because it's not
technician.
It's not vertical, it's horizontal.
Right. It's a whole... I would assume it's a whole different kind of set of physics, right?
Yeah, because you're working with bars that are like rolling instead of, what is it, pistons in an elevator?
It's just a pulley system. Pulley system with a cable, I think. I mean,
I'm thinking of, is it suspension? Or what stops it from hitting the ground fully?
What stops it from hitting the... Probably a safety cable.
I guess it is all just a cable, right?
I don't think they would ever... It would be too expensive to kind of have a suspension system in the building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, for God's sakes, that would just get rusty and old very quickly.
Elevator technicians and installers get paid bank, though. And escalator technicians. Those people get paid bank.
Okay.
100K plus. Just to fix elevators and shit all day.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine just going out to a work site and just... It's so routine. It's like being a plumber. Except you're just fixing an up and down system.
Right.
It is kind of scary, though, because I think it's one of those careers that have the highest deaths.
I find it funny how much a nice elevator can dress up a building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you ever walked... I mean, you walk into, like, a nice elevator with, like...
Dude, Newport on the Levee, when you walk into those elevators from the parking garage...
Okay.
And you walk in those elevators, it's, like, so grungy.
Mm-hmm.
And very, like, subway.
It smells like fucking piss.
Yeah. It
Always.
smells like someone peed in the corner.
Yeah. The pneumonia makes your eyes water. And then you got stickers of...
Pneumonia or ammonia? It's probably both.
Pneumonia? I always say pneumonia, but what do you say?
Ammonia.
Ammonia? I always pronounce the N. I don't know. Pneumonia. It just feels natural to me. That's fascinating. I never knew... Look that shit up. I gotta know. I can't pronounce it wrong for the rest of my life. Say pronunciation on the search. Not to be vexing.
pneumonia is the sickness.
Oh, I'm not talking about ammonia, because it's not ammonia. What I'm talking about is pneumonia, which is the process of urine aging. And
That's what that is?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
God
When
bless.
urine ages, it creates pneumonia. Pneumonia is an infection in both one or both lungs. Can I read that definition just for fun? Pneumonia is an infection that affects one or both lungs. It causes the air sacs or
alveoli
of the lungs to fill with fluid or pus. Bacteria, viruses, or fungi may cause pneumonia. And then look up pneumonia urine just to make sure that I'm correct. Yeah, cool. Okay, so it is a thing.
That is pretty gross, though.
So I guess I'm pronouncing it right.
I don't even know the differences between that and bronchitis or just like normal sicknesses and shit like that.
Fucking bronchitis killed millions, man.
I'm
Or am I
glad
thinking
we're
of a
not-
different one?
I'm glad we're not living 100 years ago when the Spanish influenza wiped out like half the earth.
Am I right about... Yeah, with you on that. Am I right about the... What did you... It was... bronchitis? Is that what the...
Yeah, we were talking
TB?
about pneumonia. Oh, that's tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis is what I'm talking about. That killed so many people back in the day.
That's how my boy Arthur Morgan died. R.I.P.
Arthur Morgan.
Unless you got a different ending, and then he got shot in the face by Hosea. Or no, not Hosea, Micah.
Yeah.
If you were a bad person in Red Dead Redemption 2.
So you're talking about Red Dead Redemption 2, right? And Micah, it killed me.
Really?
So
because you were the bad character?
Well, I don't know.
There's a...
You could have killed Micah if you won, but if you didn't win, you just died right there. And that was the ending. And I was like, shit. Because I was so bad at Red Dead at the time, I was like, I couldn't finish a mission without doing it twice.
Yeah, I had to try and figure out, I couldn't just have... I had multiple save files, before the ending, I had to make my character good and bad so I could see how both endings were. Do you know what I mean?
That's so cool. I didn't even...
So,
Damn.
I did one save file as a good guy, and then one save file as a bad guy.
What the fuck, dude? I wish I figured that shit out. That's genius.
Well, I mean... Yeah,
I didn't know you could
guess.
fucking do that. That's wild.
Yeah, but GTA is that sort of way too, where you can just save the game before you make the final, big decision on what character you want to keep or all three of them alive.
Okay.
And yeah, it is a good thing to do if you're playing a single player game, to just always save the game before making a big ass decision that you're not sure of.
Not to beat a dead horse. When do you think GTA 6 is coming out?
Oh, the day that people are living in VR, dude. We won't be playing that game until everyone has goggles on.
It's so funny to me how well GTA 5 is aging. It's aged like fine wine at this point because everybody's just
continues to make money. Yeah, it's crazy.
It still gets players, and there's no other game like it. How is there no other game like it?
I don't know.
It seems like such a simple formula that they created. I can't believe no other, I don't know, how do I want to say this? Gaming producers or gaming creators haven't made...
a multiplayer platform that's like that. Just online. You got... It's kind of the same amount of players as Battlefield in a server. Battlefield, it's 32 per team. But yeah, having a very set number of players in a session, almost like a chat room, and then
but also having a modern day city that's just,
and everything's just as chaotic as you think it would be.
Right.
Because everyone's just their GTA character just lighting shit up on fire and shooting shit.
And every time I get on a GTA server now, somebody's in a helicopter or one of those flying bikes shooting missiles at me immediately.
You gotta make sure you're insured.
They take... That's true. I'm not insured on GTA, so I have to pay for it out of pocket every time. And for God's sakes, how many times I have to call Lester to get the police off me just to go do a heist? It takes forever, and I can't believe that there's no other gaming companies that are we gotta make a competitor.
A copycat or something like that.
They don't even have to make a copycat, just make their version.
None of them really even get close to it. Ubisoft could have made an online game where they just focus in on the common ground, such as everyone being in a city and it's modern day. They made Watch Dogs and shit. They could have... Any AAA gaming company could have made another GTA. Like Far Cry. Far Cry is also made by Ubisoft.
Cyberpunk's the closest one.
Competitor.
It's the closest one.
Because it is sort of modern day. And they take everything from...
But what I would want is brutally modern day. Like GTA. Yeah. GTA is brutally modern day. They even
go past it, and they have fucking flying bikes now.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem too crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that to me, I get it. Because I want a flying bike too. It makes GTA so much more fun to have a flying bike.
It just makes me wonder what the next one will have, if there's flying bikes in this one. I mean, it's crazy that they can possibly have more ideas past that.
Imagine the privilege to be able to go to, what's that? Activision? No. Rockstar. Imagine being one of
an
their
early tester.
Yes.
Dude, I would want to pay them to early test their games. I wouldn't want to get paid. I'd want to pay them.
That would be the dream, though, to get paid, and because you probably have to hand your phone. You probably have to, like...
Yeah.
There's no way they're leaking that shit.
You go through a scanner.
Mm-hmm. They're treating that shit like...
You're not bugged, are you?
Right.
And they just ask, like, a whole questionnaire.
Mm-hmm. And then they're...
I bet it is real rigorous.
And they're keeping notifications on your Twitter to make sure you're not leaking any information about it, too.
Yeah.
You'd be like, hey, you signed a non-disclosure. You better keep it up, mister. Don't talk about GTA 6.
Like, if you don't delete this tweet, you're not getting invited to next year's early testing.
And they're treating it like the U.S. government trying to conceal aliens. And like they're...
That's literally how GTA 6 is, because who has ever heard of PEEP out of any of them at this point?
Nobody. Everybody is like making
so
fake...
under wraps.
They're making fake leaks.
Just draw the hype.
Right. Just to get some views, because GTA 6 has really been under wraps, like a military project, which is really fun. I mean, I can't wait to see the results, because it will be... I would hope it'd be fucking fantastic. And you're probably right with the fact that it will be on VR. But will that be, like, the driving factor of it? Like, will we really not be able to play this game on a screen? Will we have to see, like, a 3D world to give it justice? Possibly. We'll have to buy a fucking brand new console, brand new remote. They'll be like, you can't have a normal headset. Normal headsets don't have spatial sounds. We have spatial sounds.
Yeah. This one's pre-built in with Dolby or something.
You need a full chest, like a chest...
To feel the bullets.
Right, chest vest. It'll vibrate. It'll give you feedback.
Yeah, the next Call of Duty game or Battlefield, they're like, this edition comes with a battle vest. Feel every shot and feel every, like, CPR impression. Could you imagine, like, getting revived and you feel the, like, CPR compressions on your battle vest?
It feels too real. It feels too real.
We're gonna get to that point where, yeah, you could feel bullets on the vest. Like, you just get hit.
Because I think it was Isaiah showing us a video of a game that...
Full bodysuit?
No, it was like the most realistic game.
Oh, VR?
It was the most realistic combat game of... It was just like a shooter game.
Mm-hmm.
Shooter combat. But it was so hyper-realistic that it scared the shit out of me just watching.
You talking about the one where it's in the graffiti?
Yeah, could you pull up that video? Because... I mean, it gave me goddamn chills for how realistic and how... Because it's like one shot, one kill. It's hyper realistic, and Isaiah was telling me that no children are allowed to play this game. Like they said,
because they could get PTSD from it or something.
PTSD they could get from this game.
All right, guys, I have something absolutely mind-blowing to show you today. Do you all
It's so realistic.
This video that I did talking about a game that looked just like real-life body cam footage? Well, the same developer has recently unveiled the Steam page, which includes a trailer for the official project.
This looks too real. The vaulting.
Welcome to the project called Unrecord, and I have to say, this looks like a phenomenal project. This looks incredibly interesting. Now, what I think makes this project even more interesting
He took the
is
clip
that
out and
this
it said
is
the number
apparently
5 out of 5.
not a VR game.
You have to
I
actually.
know that this looks like a VR game, but
He's
there's currently
spazzing
nothing
out.
on the Steam page to suggest
What?
that it is actually virtual reality. And on top of that, I have even seen Twitter posts from some of the developers who have worked on this game talking about the animations that they created for this demo. So, as far as I'm aware, so far, this is
so
mouse
scary.
and keyboard
Yeah, with how real all the shadow looks,
which is
all the
Yeah.
shadows look,
absolutely
the lighting.
mind-blowing to me. Now,
The reaction of the
is
gun, the
super
running, the
interested in this game,
kicking.
And if you want to join the discussion with us talking about this
They
project,
look like-
you can join our Discord, links down below. And if you all
They look like they. You can keep playing it. I'm really curious. I just wanted to talk for a second. They look like they 3D, like, took imaging of an actual area because
Yeah.
there's no way they actually rendered all of this.
Yeah,
That would take
it
so
does.
much data.
It looks like they put props up everywhere, or at least like did a green screen.
This looks like an actual property they just filmed,
Yeah.
and they just 3D rendered with filming, not actually like doing animation. But it is so impressive. Wow. What was this?
It is called Unrecord.
Kind of a shit name. kind of a
So
shit.
in the future,
Kind of a shit
it'll
name.
probably be coming out soon. Very realism, graphics wise.
It's impressive for them to really like go after hyper realism. All for it. I mean, and that's what I think they should do for GTA. Imagine if that was GTA. If they
What, all first person?
If they
and it
turn-
looks like that.
right, if they turned Unrecord into actual like real life GTA style. That would be really cool because I bet they could kind of figure out how to do the photorealism, take video footage of actual properties and kind of piece it together to make a whole city. I bet they could do that. I mean, with a project as big as Rockstar's trying to pull off with GTA 6, I bet they could do something close to what Unrecord is doing.
If I was Rockstar, I would be ballsy enough to get in talks with like the people like Google Maps or something and be like, let's do an entire real city. Let's do Miami. And just like every little down to the detail. Like every fire hydrant, every
Right.
street sign's the same. Just because you have the rendering on Google Maps and then you just have it.
That would get too close to home. Imagine you live in that city and you can break into the home you live in. That would
Ooh.
get, you know what I'm talking about? That'd get scary as
That
fuck.
would be weird.
That'd be really scary. That'd be the Matrix right there.
I mean, Watch Dogs has done San Francisco. They've done Chicago. Places like, GTA is like basically a replication of Los Angeles and Hollywood and all that.
very true.
So there are some places on those games where you could probably visit real life places.
But in GTA 6, you should be able to go into every building, right? I mean, like that's
For it to be that immersive,
for sure. You should be able to
I
go.
could understand that, and it just being all presets.
Sure.
And everything's like prefabricated and everything's the same kind of design.
Mm-hmm.
At least like that kind of minimal effort would be good in a next generation game like GTA 6.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going all out, you might as well just do like a basic rendering of an inside of a room.
But where is the line with that kind of a game with ethics and being ethical? Meaning like that game Unrecord, right? It was Unrecord.
I guess it all has to do with
What's ethically right?
it all has to do with storyline.
Okay.
I guess that's another way of shaping, because you're not making graphic content just like regularly, like explicitly, unless it's important to the storyline of the game.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't see the point of having like content that's graphic in your shit, unless it's
Just being violent to be
unless it's
violent.
important
Okay.
like, to the game. Like, of course, in Call of Duty, the name Call of Duty implies that you're gonna be an army soldier or some shit.
Okay.
Or Medal of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like games shouldn't even be rated sometimes because you should just go off the name of it, you know? Like, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto. Like,
right.
Don't let kids play it.
For sure. So you're saying that... I got nothing. So, but okay, but like with games like this, should they have morality?
I don't know.
Like, should they have a moral code, or should they just be like, yeah, it's just a violent video game. Just let it be violent.
I think they should have a moral code because Activision just got sued. I don't know if it was from an outside source or from, like, within the company. They got sued for being sexist. And that could be from the content.
Activision is Call of Duty, right?
And it could be from the content they're making, or it could be from what's being said in the workplace. But they did get fined for being openly sexist at the workplace.
Fascinating. Well, I guess there's no woman soldiers in Call of Duty, is there? Only recently.
Yeah, there is now. But 10 to 12 years ago, it was not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it started being a thing in either Advanced Warfare or, like, maybe Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3. I know it was definitely in Black Ops 3.
Having women in the game?
Mm-hmm. Because there was the American lady, the South Korean lady who was like an arms dealer.
Okay.
Black Ops 3 was really cool because they introduced specialists.
Mm-hmm.
And they should have just not made any other game after that. In my opinion.
Okay.
They should have done what GTA did, just kept perfecting.
Mm-hmm. In your mind, what would be the perfect console? Like, as a gaming console, what would be the perfect thing?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people starting to get into the Nintendo Switch, but I just couldn't do the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the screen would annoy me. And, of course, the joysticks. But I honestly think that PS5 might end up beating the Xbox One Series X in terms of quality.
Really, in terms of quality? Why in terms of quality?
I don't know. I might have started digging Sony more than Microsoft. I don't know why.
Okay. Is it the interface?
It's always flip-flopping like every year. But I think it is the interface with the PS5. It's just very sleek and they are design-centered.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, if you have a game up, like the tile, it'll show the whole wallpaper for that game when you're hovered over the disc or the game application.
And everything digitally is kind of going to soft edges, meaning like there's no sharp squares, there's no sharp edges.
Yeah,
like with YouTube,
interfaces.
with Apple, with Android, they're all very soft interfaces.
Everything is rounded, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think Xbox doesn't do that. Xbox is very hard edge.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard edge about
Microsoft
everything.
is like that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Microsoft and they're starting to turn soft edge.
I'm kind of salty that Google, when they released their console, their gaming console, that it was a streaming device. They should have just went all out if they were making a gaming console, you know?
You should talk about that piece of shit you bought. What was that thing?
Yeah, I bought the Founders Edition for Google when they came out with their gaming console. It was called the Stadia. And you had to buy the game. You had to buy the membership monthly or annually. And then not only do you not have the disc or the console was like a Google thing that hooked up into your HDMI. And
Like a Google
and
Home?
It looked like a disc. like no bigger than a sand dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And it would let you stream the video games, and just as if you were streaming a Netflix show or movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's the one interesting quality about it, but it just did not have a lot of investors and or customers that bought it and supported the platform. Because
how much was the goddamn subscription? I remember you telling me it was like a crazy number.
I think it was $10 a month.
That's still a fuck
But
ton.
that was just to enable it. Like, you couldn't... I don't think you could play your games that you had purchased unless you were also paying for the monthly subscription. So, like, the games that you bought on Stadia were not accessible if you were not paying the monthly.
That's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
That's really shitty.
I think that's...
What about free games? Like, I mean, there's like Fortnite.
They did have... Yeah, they had free games, and that's what paying the $10 a month gave you. It's that they would sometimes release the free game of the month, or... whatever.
Okay. Xbox and PlayStation do something like that where
yeah,
if you
they
buy
already had that system in place, and then Google came in and was like, let's just steal that idea and make it $10 a month for 1 or 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then still charge for them to play all the other ones.
How could Google, somebody who owns YouTube, not be able to pull off a gaming console? For God's sakes, I mean, it's not like it's not rocket science. Like,
I know,
they seem
even
like they missed their mark so far. They didn't satisfy
something like the PSP or some shit like that, where it's a handheld device. That would make a lot more sense than a streaming device.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the usability.
Start small.
Yeah.
Yeah. You start with a younger generation.
Yeah, with a handheld.
And
like
build upon that.
Like the Game Boy. The Game Boy and the PSP are iconic.
Mm-hmm. Do kids have anything like that now?
Just iPads.
That's so sad.
All I'm seeing. Well, remember Leapfrog?
Yeah.
That was a funny device.
Man, the DS was
LeapPad.
way better than having to, like...
Yeah, the little stylus with the DS. I remember, yeah. Handheld devices are definitely the way if you're trying to start a gaming console.
At least you can, like, kind of grow with the generation, right? I mean, like, the generation that you give the DS type of thing or Game Boy kind of thing, you can kind of, you know, curate with that generation. And by the time that generation is 20 years old, you can give them a console and they'll buy it immediately because they've trusted that source for so long. I mean, I think that's kind of how Nintendo kind of built up to their, is it Nintendo Switch?
Yeah.
It seems like that's...
Because they just keep releasing consoles that were more and more compatible with people's devices that they were using.
Amen to that. That's my dog trying to get to the door, which is really cool. Yeah. Okay, Nolan. I feel like I should wrap this up.
Agreed.
You
This
cool with
has
that?
been episode number
9.
9.
Isn't that fucking crazy? This will be coming out in August, I think.
Well, whenever you're watching this, we hope that you appreciate it and that it was a great time listening.
And by the time you listen, check out our op merch. We haven't made it at this current moment that we're recording, but by the time you're listening to this, we should definitely have some op merch. So go to our store, orugastore.com, go to the podcast page, click the merch link, and check out our merch. Sick. Alright, have a wonderful and splendid life.
And we got to be ready.
Visit orugastore.com today and enter the discount code OP15 for 15% off your order on all Oruga merch. Free shipping for orders over $50 is available as well. Thank you. The Oruga Podcast.
Somehow somebody's always looking the other way. Now look at these guys. They look busy, right?